Okay, so welcome back, and we're going to begin. I'm going to show you some techniques that I learned the hard way. This is your regular tester's enamel paint. One of the things that I used to do is I used to use a toothpick to try to stir this up and get it, all the pigment distributed evenly. I finally graduated to like a fancy cocktail mixer until I saw a demonstration on another YouTube video by a guy named Cranky, I think they call him. He builds mostly hot rod and automobile, but one of the techniques that he taught to me that I learned from him was to incorporate some BBs. You can buy these on Amazon really cheaply. I think these might be the 4mm size, I don't recall, but get you a bag of BBs and then you can put a couple of them in the actual paint canister, and it basically has the same function as the ball bearing in the rattle-can, and so you're creating like a mini rattle-can effect there, and that works really good because it distributes the pigment really well, and especially in enamel paints that's important, and particularly with the lighter colored paints it's very critical that you get an even distribution of the actual pigment to the I guess the media, the thinner. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put this down here so you can see what I'm working on here. Alright, I think we got a good shot here. So I'm going to add the yellow strips, identification strips, to the aircraft model here using some tester's enamel. Always keep some paint thinner handy whenever you use enamel. I don't like the paint to get on my fingers because I find that it's kind of difficult to get off. So I always keep some gloves handy. These are disposable El Cheapo gloves. I think you can get 200 of these for about $10. So I just put on some gloves. That way you don't get the thinner on you, you don't get the paint on you, and it's just cleaner. It's easier to clean up. Okay, so going back to my discussion on brushes, here I'll probably be using the filbert type brush. I like this brush because this is a natural hair brush, and it to me, I just find that it moves a lot of paint around very quickly, evenly distributes it, and gives you a lot of control because of the shape and texture of the brush. So let's go ahead and get this party started. And with these testers, if you don't use this paint on an everyday basis, you better keep you a pair of pliers handy, because they'll test your manhood trying to open these things up. So I always keep a pair of pliers handy so that I can at least get into my paint after I've let it sit for a while. It's better to have it too tight, sealed too tightly, than too loosely. You don't want to come back to it and it's all gump because it's dried out. So with I usually try to wet this in the thinner first. We got the filbert brush and some paint thinner, and then go ahead and add a little paint, let it soak into the brush here. And with lighter pigments like yellow, you may have to make multiple applications. You can see I've already taped this off, so I'm not concerned about getting the you don't have to be too careful. What I'm more concerned about is getting a good distribution of paint. You can, of course, use your paintbrush to do this, your airbrush, but I find that by the time I clean it out and get the adjustment right and everything, I've already been done if I just use the brush, and it comes out looking very much the same. So I don't see a real increased benefit to using the airbrush, but you certainly could use it. And again, with these lighter colored paints, it's important to get a good application, good coverage. You might have to come back 2-3 times to get the proper coating on it, because it's going to show lines a lot more. Here you can see the hole for the 20mm cannon very, very clearly. And don't be afraid, because I've taped it off properly. don't be afraid of getting it onto the tape. You want good coverage. This, and then, again, I'm using Tamiya brand adhesive tape. This is 6mm in width, but I find that this tape works excellent for blocking, you know, keeping paint where you don't want it to go. I'll go ahead and clean that brush out, especially with your natural hair brushes are going to be more expensive, but trust me, over the long haul, they're going to be well worth it. They're just going to hold up better, and they're going to do a lot better over the long term. So if you can have that choice between synthetic brushes and natural brushes, always, if you can afford it, always go with the natural brush. Now, whenever you get finished and you start to clean your brush, it's always a good idea to incorporate a little bit of paint, what do you call it, paintbrush. This is cleaner slash conditioner, so it'll do both. But I always like to get it really agitated in there and rub it on my hand. Get that conditioner into the hair in between the oil, and this will preserve your brush for a long time. And I can't give you a date, but if you do this, you could probably lengthen the life of your brush by about a half, or double, I should say. So if this thing would normally last you, if you didn't clean it properly, if it would normally last you a year, you'd probably get 2 years out of it if you clean it properly. And to me, that seems like a small amount of work to get a lot of gain out of. So especially these brushes are running about $10 a piece. And I keep a paint thinner, pure paint thinner, uncut, in a dropper bottle. I find it to give me incredible dexterity with it. I can put it right where I want it. I don't have to worry about lugging out a big can of paint thinner, or, you know, to me it's just very handy to have it in a apothecary type dispenser, and an eyedropper with eyedropper. But those are some of the techniques I wanted to show you. Is before you put up any of your brushes, make sure you clean them and care for them properly, and they'll give you long-lasting life. Also, care for yourself and go ahead and invest in some gloves, because it's real easy to get carried away and use a whole bunch of different paints, and before you know it, you go to work and you look like you got paint of all different color on you. So for a very small amount, you can get that protection. Might as well. All right, that's what I want to show you. We'll come back to it tomorrow after it dries, and we'll probably apply another coat. But that's where we're progressing. That's how things are moving along. As you can see, we've already gotten a lot of decals on the fuselage as well. We've also managed to get decals already on the propeller. So we're moving right along with this project. Hopefully tomorrow we'll come back and put some more stuff on it. But thank you for joining me. And again, my name is Joel Z. Williams, and welcome to Props Scale Model Aircraft Building.